Good, hello, folks, and welcome back to another awesome episode of Tommy Talks. So, tonight, folks, I am interviewing none other. He has a popular his channel is growing. He's not popular right now. But I tell you what, the harder you work, the bigger you can get. So, folks, none other than Mr. Geek and Sports, a dapper-looking man with a man that's a fan of me that has a T on his hat.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
How are you doing today, sir?
Doing good. How about yourself, Tommy?
Oh, I'm doing good. Okay, let's get down to our questions. Ba-bam! So, who inspired you to be a YouTuber?
Quite a few people actually. Well, actually, no, not quite a few people. The first person I started following on YouTube was Chris Perillo. He's probably my biggest reason for starting to YouTube. I actually have another channel called Growing Up Florist, and my entire family we all vlog. So we've kind of gotten close to. I know the Shaytards are really popular. Haven't really gotten into them. That Reyes family, they're pretty popular. So or not popular, but somebody we're interested in. I follow you, Mr. Tommy NC 2010.
Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. And then of course I've actually picked up some people because of you that I started following. I started following Mark Hyder because of Tommy, and Wet Movie 1 because of Tommy. So I also started watching Cool Duder because of Tommy. So yeah, I actually found you, Tommy, through Chris Perillo through Vlogger Fair, and then of course I followed Jazz and Slav. Yeah, there's a few others, but those are the main ones that I watch.
Now, as a YouTuber, how do you feel about just what you're doing? And I've watched your channel; it's very interesting. Now, I noticed that your channel is called Geeks and Sports. Now, what is the definition are you trying to imply? Because now, what is the there's no really collaborations between geeks and sports. Really, there's kind of two odd ducks. Really, and Chris Perillo, he's a geek, and you can tell the average sports guy because he wears the jersey and he's just like, oh yeah, ready for the football game, and that's kind of a little bit, generalizing. Yes, yes. I'm not being that loud, Dad. You lower. Okay. So, how with your channel, how many subscribers do you have?
I think on my Geeks and Sports channel, I've only been doing it for I think like a month and a half. And I have I think like 10 or 11 subscribers. I don't have that many, but basically what my channel's about is a lot of guys, I should say, or girls, they equate themselves with one type of person or the other. Usually, if you were in high school, you had your geeky kind of guys that were into Legos and superheroes, comic books, stuff of that nature. And then on the other side, you had your sports guys like you were talking about that like football and baseball and basketball and things like that. Me, I was actually in between. I played football, I did powerlifting, and I was kind of your jock. But when I went home, I like to read comic books, and I was a superhero fan, and I built Legos and stuff like that. So when I just was thinking about a channel for myself, the first thing I thought of was, of course, the vlog channel because Chris Perillo vlogs, and I was like, that seems like something that my family would like to do. So I started that channel, and then I said, well, if I was going to vlog if I was going to start a channel by myself, what interests me, what do I like. And it wasn't, I didn't try to go after, I've always believed in the concept that whatever you're going to do on YouTube, you have to be passionate about it, you have to be interested about it, and you can surround yourself by people that are interested and passionate about what you're interested and passionate about. So for me, it was easy. It was my geeky side and my sports side. So now, basically, what I do on my channel is I do anything from I review comic books, I do tech unboxings, I build Lego sets, I interview like MMA fighters, local MMA fighters. I do MMA reviews, football reviews, wrestling. I know you're a WWE fan yourself, and
Yes.
so I do different things, just a little bit of everything. So if you like comics, if you like Star Wars, if you like Legos, if you like superheroes, if you like wrestling, if you like football, if you like basketball, baseball, golf, fighting, MMA, whatever, my channel has pretty much all that.
Okay. Now, when you now, honest, some YouTubers go around boasting their channels, and I try to advertise my channel as much as you can. Now, do you advertise your channel regularly, or do you just keep it to the internet circuits?
Yeah, I just keep it to my social feeds. I haven't like put any money into it or tried to do any promoting. I mean, I don't know. I know Chris Perillo says it takes a while to build a following, so I'm not in a rush. If people like it and they're interested, great. If they don't like it, they're not interested, then they don't have to watch. It's just, I guess it'd be awesome if I became, had a lot of subscribers and all that good stuff, and it would allow me the benefit to put out better content and stuff. But if I don't, I mean, it's not gonna break me. I still have my family, so it's not something that's gonna make or break me. So
Guys, let's do something for this gentleman tonight. The guys, people are watching this show. Go to his channel and subscribe to his channel. What's by Friday? Let's get him up to 500 subscribers. Okay. Um, Subscribe to his channel. Okay. I'm just trying to boost your channel, and go
I appreciate
subscribe
that.
to his video. Go subscribe to his channel, like his videos, share his videos. Get him up to 500 subscribers by Friday. That's your goal, okay?
Thank you, Tommy. I appreciate that, bud.
And I hope that I hope people will watch your channel and be positive. What is your opinion on positivity?
Um, Let me think. I mean, obviously, I have a positive opinion about positivity. I mean, I think it's something we should all have. I think it's something everybody should strive for. I mean, there's no sense in. I mean, honestly, there's no sense in being negative. There really isn't. I mean, there's no sense in. I mean, whether it's something bad going on in your life or whether you disagree with somebody else or whatever. I mean, I see a lot of negative things as far as on people's comments and things that people put out there. And to me, it's just there's no sense in being like that. There's no sense in being negative. And we're all human beings. We all go through good times and bad times and stuff like that. So I mean, it's not easy for everybody to stay positive. It's not easy for everybody to be in a good mood or a happy mood or in a positive mindset. But we should always try to put people in that mindset or help people out or get them out of bad times. We should never try to bring people down. I mean, to me, that's just a horrible way to go about life. And I'm a huge believer in karma, and I've been hit by it myself. So I can definitely attest to the fact that karma, as they say, karma is a bee. And I feel like if you're a negative person and you have a negative outlook on life and you're negative towards other people, that at the end of the day, all that's going to do is come back and bite you in the butt. So it's just useless. There's no need for it.
Now, you said something about when I was listening into what you were saying, you said something about you used to be a jock, and that when you would go home, you would turn into a geek. You would read comic books. Now, were you ever scared of going back to your football community and saying, "Hey, I'm a geek"? Were you afraid they were going to call you names and hate on you? Did you ever say to them, "Hey guys, I read, Batman, I read Superman, I read Aquaman, or Hellboy, or any of these particular"? Were you afraid to reach out to say to these people that you were a geek, or were you just a hard-headed jock and then as soon as you left, you kind of flipped the page and then you're kind of like a superhero, at some point, you're just like the tough guy at school, and then you turn into the guy that's interesting and has a personality. Am I right?
Yeah, to an extent. Yeah, that's pretty much how it was. But no, I was never afraid to tell. I mean, if somebody came up to me and wanted to talk comics or wanted to talk about a particular superhero or whatever, I mean that's one thing that I did pride myself on, is that I was never the type. I mean, I'll put it to you this way. There was one incident where I was sitting with a couple of my buddies that played ball, and we were sitting there and we were eating lunch, and another guy, kid, he was getting kind of picked on, and I went up and I walked over to him and told those two guys that were messing with him, kind of leave him alone type thing, and it was. I never had a problem sticking up for somebody who couldn't defend themselves, and I never had a problem sharing whatever. I mean, I'll put it to you like this: if I was sitting down and we were talking about, Friday night's opponent, what we were going to do, the guy I was going against, whether he was, 6'4", 320, and I'm sitting here talking about how we're going to combo block and put this guy on his backside, and then somebody walks over and says, "Hey, did you catch, last night's episode of Justice League?" I would say, actually, yeah, I did, and then I'd go into a whole nother conversation. And there was a couple times where a couple of my buddies were like, "You watched that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I watched that." They're like, "Okay." I mean, I'm not trying to say anything, but I put it to you like this: there wasn't anybody that was going to sit back and tell me what I could and couldn't watch, or would or could or couldn't do, or try to make fun of me, because even though I do have that geeky side, they kind of know better at the same time too, if you get my drift. So
Honestly, I want to say something. That's really good of you, man, because my whole life, I've always seen the jocks that are just absolutely disgusting, and they're just really rude to you. And if you look at a lot of jocks today, they're in the NFL and stuff like that. But the thing is, a lot of these jocks are people, that I'm not degrading people that work at McDonald's, but the thing is, if you look at a lot of jocks, they work at McDonald's, and they're not the star of anything. They're just the average jocks that don't do anything, and they just they end up in a trailer. And I'm not talking bad about people that live in trailer parks. People are in trailer parks because they can't afford the right kind of house, because they didn't have the right kind of idealism. And I always tell people that do sports, don't put your chips in one bowl, because at one point you could be going for that $1 million scholarship to MBA school or something like that. I don't know any college names for footballs or basketball names. I'm just saying MBA school or football school, or basketball school. You hurt your leg, you break your ACL. Yes, I know the word for ACL. Basically, that's your knee, am I right?
it's a ligament in your knee, yeah.
Yeah, you ruin your ACL, you're ruined. You've invested so much money into this, and I love drama. I wish people had known me back in the day when I was doing drama in my school. I was a big actor. I got up on stage even though I couldn't read. I did everything I could to just be myself and try to entertain. And when I found out about YouTube, and the first person I found out about was Cool Duder. Because he used to hang out with a guy, and I loved watching his videos. I loved watching Don and Murph. If you check out Don and Murph, it's an amazing series. It was a long time ago when he was younger, and Cool Duder would hang out with his friend. They do movie reviews. They grew up since they were children, and they had a splitting apart a while back ago. So that's what happened. That's why you don't see this gentleman in the program anymore. But I still love watching Cool Duder's videos now because he's epic. He started his other channel, Cool Duder Vlogs. He's starting to lose weight. I respect him. I'm a heavy guy also, and he's a heavy guy. So he's starting to lose weight, and he's really, he's a cool guy. So the thing is, man, don't be afraid to be yourself. Because the thing about it is I say all the time, what you said there too, is if you want to be successful in this business, you have to love what you do. And I love making videos on here on YouTube. I love vlogging. And, I want to say something, and this is to Chris Pirillo, and this is to you, and this is to every YouTuber out there. Follow your heart. And if it takes you in the direction you want to go, go with it. Don't ever go somewhere just because somebody says you have to do this. Because if you don't follow your heart, you'll end up miserable. And people say go with your gut. But the thing is that it comes from your heart. It's what you love to do. And naturally, we as people do things because people say, you should do this, you should do that, and push you this way. And I agree with certain things. Chris Pirillo said this in his vlog. Parents, throw sports stuff on because they want their kid to be the best football player. And I kind of agree that it's wrong to push a kid that way. Now, a lot of people are saying that, here's the thing. Parents have their own way to raise their child, but I think it sometimes is ridiculous when parents push their kids towards sports. A lot of people could say that, Chris Pirillo is pushing Jedi towards geekiness and Star Wars stuff, and that's what Chris likes. We don't know what Jedi likes, but the thing is, Jedi has a time to adapt, and Chris is not forcing Jedi to do anything. Chris is just being a father, and he's just being excited about raising Jedi as a child. And to any parent that says that Chris is manipulating Jedi, or people that says that he should be raising Jedi that way, it's not your right to tell Chris what to do. Chris is a new father. Diana's a new mother. They have their right the way they want to raise their child. And I've seen comments in the past where they say, you shouldn't do that with Jedi. You shouldn't say this, That's not your right. And the thing is, Geek, can I say your name, or do you want me to say your channel name?
Oh, it doesn't matter, man. I don't care.
Jeremy has 4 kids. Am I right?
That's right.
Jeremy has 4 kids. These kids, Jeremy came into my hangout a while back ago. We were just hanging out. I put a link to saying, anybody can come into the hangout, even Brendan Mitchell and all his fans could come into the hangout. Well, figured if Brendan is not there, his fans are not going to show up. The only person that showed up was Jeremy, and I thought that was honorable. So the thing is that he came in, started talking with us, and I introduced him to my personality. And I have to say, I appreciate I want to say this. I said this in my vlog. Just a second, Jeremy. I hate to cut off from the interview, but you think that was a good interview? Huh. Before I invite you guys in again, Mark, I want to say this. I want to thank everybody that watches my channel. I want to especially say to also the negative people, your comments don't hurt me. Your comments make me stronger, honestly. When you call me a douchebag, or you say that I'm gay and I should die in a fire, and that I'm retarded, and that I'm a fetus, and you say that I'm severely autistic, and I should just stop being. I should just be this dumb retarded kid that just sucks on his thumb and not do anything. You know what? Those comments don't faze me. the comments that you post up that are mean doesn't hurt me. And you know what it does? Makes me stronger, makes me bulletproof, because it makes me stand up to people like you thinking that you can run all over me. But the thing is, it makes me stronger. It makes me smarter. And I appreciate you watching my videos, because if you weren't interested in my channel, you wouldn't be here. You'd be somewhere else. You'd be go off doing something else, trolling somebody else's channel. But thank you for liking and sharing my videos. I want to say thank you to all my fans. Thank you.
Is I didn't mean to cut you off, Tommy, but can I say something to that point?
Yes, sir.
The one thing that I wanted to say was that I've seen a lot of your comments, and I've seen a lot of the, I guess they're called trolls, and the things that they say, and some of them are pretty harsh. So, I do want to say this before anybody decides to put something on Tommy's page or anybody else's page, especially things as ugly as saying, somebody's, retarded or is autistic or can't count or any of those things. I don't know if you guys have kids. I don't know if y'all plan on having kids. I don't know if you have brothers or sisters or, cousins or people that are related to you or close to you that you love and you care about. But just think before you post something like that, what if it was your daughter? What if it was your son? What if it was, your brother or your sister or your cousin or your aunt or your uncle that had these issues and somebody was making fun of them about it and ridiculing them about it and, basically trying to do damage for no reason whatsoever? I mean, it's understandable if you don't like somebody's channel, and it's real easy to just click off of it or just not, want to mess with it or watch it ever again. But to purposely try to hurt somebody for the sake of, whatever it is that makes people want to do those things, I just say, think twice about it. I have children, and God forbid that somebody, I don't know, man. I just, it's just.
It's hard.
Well, yeah. I mean, like I said, karma's a bee, and the last thing you want is to make fun of somebody for being autistic or make fun of somebody for not being able to read or whatever, and then God forbid you have a child, and then that child ends up being the same way, and that child ends up having to deal with the same kind of people that you were. And then you sit back and say, God, man, maybe I shouldn't have been like that. Maybe I shouldn't have said those things. Why did I do that? Because only then will you ever understand how much it actually does hurt. So to be honest with you, Tommy, I do applaud you. I applaud you for being strong and for, overcoming those adversities that you have to overcome to do the things that you do. I really do. And I just, you can't battle everybody and you can't win every single, battle. But at the end of the day, if you stay the way you are and do the things that you do, I mean, you'll win the war at the end of the day. So I don't know. That's just, and it's just a personal opinion. I mean, whatever. We all have them, I guess. But I just say before you say something ugly to somebody or about somebody, you don't know what God's given them. You don't know what hand life has dealt them or any of that stuff. You don't know their situation. So before you make fun of somebody, before you hurt somebody, before you try to downgrade somebody, just remember, you have people that are close to you too. You have people that love you, and you have people that you love and you care about. And God forbid, what if your sister that you love with all your heart was completely fine, everything was good, and then tomorrow she has a car accident and she comes back and she has brain damage and she's never the same again? What happens then? What happens then if she forgets how to read or forgets how to speak correctly? And then some guy comes over and makes fun of her, or him if it was your brother, and makes fun of him. You'd want to knock his lights out. You'd want to kick his butt because that's not fair. That's not right. You love that person. That's your family. Well, you do that every day to somebody else, somebody that you don't even know. Why? Why? Because their YouTube channel isn't something that you agree with? Because Tommy likes to sing and walk around with the camera. Let him sing. Let him talk about pie. Let him, for Christ's sakes, let him do whatever he wants to do to make him happy. That is nobody's right to make him feel any less of a person because he's doing what makes him happy. All you have to do is not watch. If you don't like it, it's simple. Don't watch it. That's it. Click off. You click it on. Tommy starts singing. He sounds like two cats being murdered, and you don't like it, then click off of it. That's instead of saying he should kill himself or he should set himself on fire or something. I mean,
well,
guys, I don't know.
The thing about those songs, I purposely try to sing bad. I'm not trying to wittily sound good when I'm singing those songs. I sound off tune, and I do it on purpose, honestly, to see, how far that I can be interesting, and just I'll sing off tune, and these tunes will come to my head, and I'll start singing the song, and an hour and a half will go by, and I'm singing the song while I'm not recording myself, and then 2 seconds later I pop out my tablet, I start recording myself, and I'm thinking, wow, I did not sound like that when I started recording, but the thing is, I purposely make myself sound bad to just more entertain the value of the song, and singing about wings, and using, or singing about apple pie, or just singing about songs that people wouldn't really sing about, because people are awfully singing these melodies from all these awesome songs. Apparently, I try making up songs. I use beats to different songs. Hold on a second. He ain't a geek. He ain't no rock star, but he's a geek. He gets it on and on and on. He gets it all night long. He's a geek. He pulls out his camera. He vlogs himself all night long. He likes the sports, but he's a wrestling fan, and he hates Brock Lesnar, and he doesn't like him very much, and he doesn't like the Seahawks at all. Because he's Geek in Sports. He's the guy behind the mask. He's a superhero. He's gonna give you a wedgie. Kind of like that. I sing off tune. I mean to do it. I'm not trying to sound like. Honestly, the other day I did. If you heard the song Sainte Marie. That song? I used that, and I thought it'd be interesting to be like, oh, chicken wings, they are delicious, and you can't watch football while eating them. Kind of like that. Also, Sega Cam Gamer, Mark Hyder, you can come back in. So, those gentlemen will be back in soon. Now, this is a segment where you can ask me any question you want to ask me, and depends on what the appropriateness of the question is, I will answer it. But you can ask me any question you want to ask me, and just ask it.
Okay. So, let me think.
I probably should have told you this was part of the segment of the show. I don't tell my interviewers that that's part of the segment of the show, and then I guess it's kind of cool because it's basically you being creative and pulling something out of your head and asking me a question, and it's all right, to ask a question off the top of your head and try to dig through the pile and be like, it's like when some people have a stupid side to them, and that stupid side is like, what are we doing? Okay, come on, just come on. Mr. Mark Hyder.
So I guess I'll ask you a couple of questions, if that's okay.
Okay.
First question would be what? Let's see. Okay, so I didn't know in the beginning, but then I found out later that you did MTV Made. How was that experience? I mean, how was it being followed around by MTV cameras?
Well, to be honest, it was interesting. It was not weird to me. It felt natural, and it was kind of awesome to have the cameras following me around. And when it died down, I kind of got depressed because it was like there's no cameras following me anymore, and I had to start my own camera. I had to make my own audience when I started YouTube. So the thing is that YouTube was one of these experiences that was awesome to me because I was my own cameraman. But when I talk about MTV, I try to make sure that I'm not glorifying that. I mentioned that I was on the episode of Made, but the thing is, honestly, let me tell you something. MTV is hard. It's when they're throwing everything at you, expecting you to do everything, and you have this much patience. You have a tiny bit of patience, and people are coming at you saying, "Tommy, what's this? Tommy, what's that?" And you're staying up until 1 o'clock in the morning drawing up storyboards, or it wasn't. It was fun, but the thing was, it was stressful. But the thing is, they actually sent therapists to me to ask if I could take that kind of stress, and I was just like, yes, 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 I could take it. Bring it to me. Bring it on. It's like the next fight, in WWE.
How did you get picked? Like, I mean, did you have to apply for it, or did they found you, or how did that happen?
Now, here's the story to that. When I was in high school, I wasn't the most popular kid. People knew who I was. Girls didn't really like me. I was in my special ed class and sitting down and just listening to the announcements, and the next thing I hear, MTV's Made is coming to our school to pick the next kid to be on, MTV's Made. And I was like, what's Made? And that's how much of a non-MTV head that I am. I didn't even watch. I knew about Beavis and Butthead and stuff like that.
Cornelio! I think give me my bunghole.
Give me my bunghole. Yes, give me my bunghole. I only knew about that. I only knew about Jackass.
I know about them, but I don't really watch them. Just so the natural words were clear about that, Tommy.
Understand?
But I don't really watch it.
You're asking me questions. Just a second, then we can talk. Okay? Just a sec. Okay? But just let me finish my story real quickly. When they said it on the announcements, I didn't know, so I stayed after school one day and went to the auditions, and I was sitting in. I wasn't the last kid, but I came in there, I sat down, and she asked me what kind of stuff. I said I could do an impression of the Joker. And literally I did an impression of the Joker, and I scared the crap out of my interviewer. I jumped up and I said, "Why so serious?" I scared the snot out of me.
Right, Tommy.
She jumped out of her seat.
Kid-friendly next time.
She jumped out of her seat, and she's like, "What do you want to be, Tommy? What do you want to be?" I said, "Oh, I want to be a movie director." And she's like, "Okay." And, after that I left, and Hannah got picked first. And a couple of years later, it was around Christmas time, I was just living my life, minding my own business, and then all of a sudden MTV calls my parents up first, talks to them because they didn't want it to be a prank phone call. And so they found out it was MTV. And MTV got on the phone with me and said, and the guy says, "My name is blankety blankety Mark." And I said, "Oh, nice to meet you, Mark." And he was like, "Do you still want to be a movie director?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "So why'd you guys call me?" And he's like, "Well, we found your tape and we watched it. We were so impressed by it that I went to sleep." He says to me, he went to sleep and he kept dreaming about my tape, and then he'd come back to work and he put my tape back in, he would watch it again, and he said, "This guy is MTV Gold." And he called me up, they sent a cameraman down, and they shot a couple days of film, and then basically what happened was there was a big winter storm that hit us, and the cameraman basically got like gallstones. He had to go to the hospital, but he got out of the hospital, come back to Black Mountain, and he came up to my house, which it was snowing, and my dad had to drive him down with the Polaris. He had to drive him into town with a four-wheeler just to get him home because he had to fly back to New York the next day after he had shot that segment. He was super tired. But after that, they called me up, and they greenlined my show, and they did it for I don't know how long, a full month, 6 months, I guess. I can't remember. They came down. Andrew Wonder was my cameraman, and he filmed my entire episode, which that was an amazing ride. Now, through that whole experience, I learned a lot about filmmaking and just experiencing everything that happened, and I love that moment. Just every bit of it, meeting the people that I got to meet, and a lot of people say that, certain situations seemed rigged, and I wouldn't say anything was rigged. Just to let you know, the scene when I meet Ashley at #1 China, that scene happened. They said that I wanted to meet up and do something. That scene happened later on that night. The first scene that actually happened was we were sitting at the table at #1 China and eating, and then afterwards we went up to my house and that whole scene laid out. That's how that went. But it was kind of backwards. They kind of put it in there backwards and said, oh, this happened first. And then basically, Ashley left awkwardly because she felt awkward, but I was just complimenting her. But everything had happened in the episode. And to be honest, to answer your next question, I know you're probably going to ask this question. How did I feel about having my movie streamed out to millions of people in that audience? My heart, I had just got off of sickness, being sick for a while, and I was losing my voice, and it was like a feeling none other, because of, as I said, I watched the scene, I watched the episode with the movie that I had directed, Oddball, with my coach Chusey, and I was thinking on the bus that this is going to be a train wreck. This is going to be horrible. The movie's not going to be good. I'm going to get laughed at, and I'm just going to have to just hide my head and be filmed by MTV. I watched the product, and I was crying out of happiness. If you watch the episode, I start crying, and Chusey says, I look back, and Tommy's bawling his eyes out. I was bawling my eyes out because I couldn't believe that I had directed something so emotional that had came out of me. And I was just like, oh my gosh, this is something beautiful. Like, I've just never thought this was. I figured this would have came from like a director that was better than me. He didn't have a learning disability, and this just came from me. With all the help that I got, I appreciated it. And to answer your question, what, Dad? What? How do you even... Apparently, I have to wrap up my show. But just to say, I don't know what to say because what do you think, man?
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. It sounds like a great experience.
Yeah. But
don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
So I apologize, man. That cut this episode short. Apparently I'm being too loud. But folks, Sega Cam Gamer, Mark Hyder, and as always, folks, this is Geek and Sports. Check out his channel, like his videos, and also, by the way, happy birthday to, if I hadn't had to wrap it up so quickly, I would invite in Alex, but I have to wrap this up, apparently, and it's only But a happy birthday to Alex. I hope you have many happy more birthdays, man. Happy birthday to you. And as always, I'm Tommy NC 2010. Check him out. This guy is epic. He's awesome. And as always, I'm keeping you on the inside fact. Thank you for watching, folks.